Yo everyone, Mango here, and welcome back to another episode for our hero profile for the online trading card game Shadow Era. So today I'm going to be trying Moonstalker, and let's see if I know what I'm doing. So this is going to be an undead style Moonstalker, and I'm going to start off by getting rid of one of these. This deck is taken from A1 Nijis, Nijjis, I believe. Uh, it, I don't think I have it card for card. I kind of forgot exactly how he had it set up, but I think I'm pretty close. And so he actually has taken this deck to some pretty incredible heights, just by just for what people think would be of expected from expected for Moonstalker, especially with a lot of the new cards that came out that kind of crap on him because they deal with stealth. But he's a great player, obviously, and it's no mistake that he did it because it was done multiple times. I think it's at least back to back or two out of 3 or 4 seasons when he actually showed up to play the game. And wouldn't you know, when he showed up and played Undead Moonstalker, he was always at the top of the leaderboard, if not at the very top, very close to the top in both rating and or score, or maybe just rating. But either way, he would put out some serious big time win win ratios with it, and it's just not something I've seen other people actually obtain. So I've always found that really impressive. So you see right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, I'll go ahead and skip. I think this is going to be a death trap. Let's see. Oh no, okay, it's a camouflage foe. Okay, so anyway, so this item here, whenever you summon an undead ally, you get to renew one of your resources and draw a card for 1 durability. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And so you see, I went up to one resource out of three. And I think what I will do now is I will force him to kill this guy in a very hard way. So this card, what it does is it deals 1 damage to your hero at the end of your turn because it has a sustain of 1 HP. But it makes all damage dealt to your undead allies reduced by 1. And so you see this guy right now has an attack value of 2. So if he attacks into this ally, it'll be reduced down to 1. So it's a great card to make all of your undead allies little mini tanks. So you see it only took 1 damage. And let's go ahead, and I think what I'm going to do is I will go ahead and I'll get rid of this. Yes, I'll get rid of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon this guy to come in and deal 1 damage on summon. Remember, whenever you summon this ally, you get to deal 1 damage to an opposing ally. Then I will use to activate this. So you see I'm at 1 out of 4 resources. So I will activate this and get bumped up to 2 resources. And then I'm going to use my Now You're Mine to kill this guy. And then I'll come in here and kill this guy. Okay. And so I'm okay with that turn. I'm going to go ahead and end my turn. And so if he uses his ability, the camouflaged foe will be the ally that's brought back. And that's the card, for me at least, that's the card I'd rather see put back into his hand. I didn't want he had a Bobcat in there, so if he would have used his ability, he would have been able to bring back the Bobcat. And I actually don't like the other ally that has Defender because I don't like having a defender on the board that I can attack into and I always take damage before I deal it. Because remember, whenever an ally has defender and you attack it, it gets to deal its damage first. So I'm okay with having the camouflage foe be the ally that he has to get back. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. And I think I will play out this ally. So I'm playing out this ally now because I'm going to force him to use his ability on it. So I'm going to play this ally. And so he's going to have to get rid of it. So he'll use his ability to drop down to kill off that ally. And then I will activate that to go back up to 2 resources again. Put this out to get some card draw going. Remember, Blood Moon at the end of each of your turns, when your hero doesn't have stealth, you get to draw a card. So this hero actually does have the option to go stealth. So if you go stealth with Moonstalker, it'll negate the draw you get from Blood Moon. So you got to remember that. Okay, so this turn he should activate his ability to drop this ally down to 1 health, and then he'll have to activate his weapon to kill it off because he can't hit it because this will reduce the damage down to 0. Okay, so that's a good turn. I made him use all his shadow energy in a way that I wanted him to do it, and then he'll play the trap card. Okay, now my ability is going to be gone here. Ooh, Forgotten Horror. Okay. Hmm. I wonder how that works. I wonder if I summon this. I haven't tried this yet. I wonder if I summon this and this ally gets triggered, if it'll kill that ally. Let's see if that works. Oh, it didn't work. Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know if it would work that way or not. Because it wasn't on the field, I guess, yet. So, of course, the ability wouldn't activate. But I wanted to try just to be sure. At least people out there know that that doesn't work if they want to try it themselves in the future. Okay, so I'm sitting on 6 shadow energy, so I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting up there to the point where eventually in the future I'd be able to sacrifice or have my ability ready for multiple turns. Oh, is he going to bury my Forgotten Horror? He might bury my Forgotten Horror here. Yep. So he's going to kill my Forgotten Horror and then kill off this ally to cover it so that I can't bring it back right away. Oh no, he doesn't. He's not able to. Okay, but he plays out 2 more traps. I wonder if that's another one of these guys, another camouflage foe. Hmm. Or is it a death trap? I'm going to say it's a camouflaged foe. I'm going to skip my turn. I'm going to play this out again. And then let's play this. Okay, it is another camouflage foe. So it came in and dealt 1 damage. And then I'm going to come in here, target this guy. And then next turn, I'll be able to use Forgotten Horror to deal 4 damage to the opposing ally with the highest attack. Okay, so and he still has this in play, which is a great weapon to have for hunters because it allows you to ping away your opponent for just 1 shadow energy. Deal damage to your opponent's allies. All right, so it's a really great tool. It used to be a lot stronger in a way. It used to be able to kill an ally if your opponent had 3 or more allies on the board. It used to allow you to just kill any ally you wanted to. So that was pretty crazy. Ooh, decoy trap. So what that's going to do is that's going to reduce any damage that I deal to an opposing ally down to 0. Okay, so my draw engine is gone. So now that that's gone, I can go ahead and start hiding. So let me see. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to skip, and I will go ahead and play out this guy. So you see that ally got frozen, but the damage was also reduced to 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and come in and hit my opponent there for 5. I take 0 in return. And now it's time to activate my ability. For 3 shadow energy, all my abilities have stealth, so they cannot be attacked physically. So he can still hit me with the ability from this, but he cannot actually hit me with any of his allies to deal damage, or with any weapons of his own to deal damage. And I have quite a bit saved up, so next turn I'll be at 6 shadow energy, and next turn after that, so I'll be able to stealth at least for 3 turns in a row. So here he'll go ahead and I'm guessing he's just going to go ahead and hit 1 for 1 damage. Yeah. So I'm worried because that was another 3 cost. So now I'm just a little bit worried that that could potentially be a um, a ricochet trap. I'm pretty sure this is a snare trap. So now it's up to me to decide which one of these allies do I want to keep the most. Do I want the ally that I can remove stuff from the grave and grow, or do I want the ally that I can kill and have returned to my hand with sacrificial lamb? I think I'm going to go with Death Collector first. I'll lose Death Collector. Yeah, there's a snare trap like I expected. And then I'll play this guy out. Wait, just in case That's a snare. That's a trap. So if this is a camouflage foe trap, when it comes out, it'll want to attack my ally. But if this guy has stealth, it won't work. Ooh, so it's a camouflage. This is a ricochet trap. Okay, so one of my allies is gonna have to die. Um, I'll put the shadow ally. I'll put the shadow hunter in there, or the shadow knight in there. So you see ricochet trap. Then the next time an opposing ally or opponent attacks your hero, they are disabled and deal damage to themselves equal to their attack. And so Shadow Knight has 5 attack and he only had 3 health, so he killed himself off. Okay, but I'm still kind of in an okay position. He's going to ping me again. So I'm guessing he probably has a Hunter's Gambit to finish that guy off. Oh, he has a poison arrow. Okay. So he decides to disable that ally. End of the turn. And so let's go ahead and skip. We will skip here. And I lost my damage reduction. So, you know what? Let's just keep going for face here, though. So I'm going to come in here because I want to get rid of that weapon because it's really negating my advantage of being able to hide. And then I will go ahead and use my ability. And this guy, remember, whenever he dies and you have at least 2 undead allies in your graveyard, damn, that's hard to read. Whenever he dies and there are 2 allies in your graveyard, he gets returned to your hand. And so the death just has to be by ability damage. So it can't be regular combat damage. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and play this out. And I'm going to actually kill this guy because he's going to go back to my hand. And what happens is that actually counts as being removed from my graveyard. So it activates the location. See, if an undead ally has been removed from your graveyard, renew 3 resources. So this guy is actually counted as dying, going to the graveyard, and then coming back to your hand. And so now what I'm going to do is, let me see, that says 2 resources. 3 resources, okay. So I will play one of these guys. Hopefully I don't drop another ally into my deck. Don't drop another ally. Okay. So I played that guy, and then I'm going to use my ability to renew 3 resources, and then I'm going to play Shadow Knight. And then when Shadow Knight summoned, you pull the top ally in your graveyard back to your hand. And so now I'm sitting pretty good. The only thing that would shut me down is if he has another Spirit Shuriken. And then next turn I can play another Shadow Knight to pull back my Forgotten Horror. And then have forgot. Oh, look at that. Now I got Shadow Font. Okay, so let me see. So I think what I'm going to do though is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And let's go ahead and bring this guy in here to kill that. And this might be another ricochet trap. So if it is, I want to go ahead and waste this guy. He's going to die anyway because he's poisoned. Okay, see, so it was a good call because it was a ricochet trap. And so this guy dies off, goes back to the grave. And then I'm able to pull him back to my hand. And then what I would do is I will go ahead and, oh, that's right. And since I removed an ally from the grave, undead ally from the graveyard, I get to activate this and renew 3 resources. And so now I get to play this ally out. And then I will go ahead and I'll play the Blood Moon to get some more draw going, even though I'm pretty sure I've got this game won. Now come in here, kill this guy, and then I will end my turn. Okay, so you've seen the interactions with this location, and this location does have a big double-edged side because your opponent for 2 shadow energy can pull back any ally in a graveyard, including yours. Oh man, I didn't get to hit him with a good game. Oh well, it was a tough match, 14-minute match, and so let's go ahead and check out the deck. Okay, so like I said before, this is a Moonstalker, and it's an undead tribe, fully undead. The first ally is Harbinger of the Lost, 2 cost undead ally. When you summon this ally, or not even when you summon, when he enters play, all players discard a card from their deck. So the top card of your deck goes to your graveyard. And so it's a good thing for this deck because it helps feed your graveyard with more undead allies, hopefully, which would give either this guy a target, to be able to buff himself, or Tormentor's ability to activate earlier. Okay, and then the next ally is 3 cost Deathmage Thaddeus, unique ally. So remember, only one. You can only have one unique ally in play at a time, and you get to see when he's summoned, you get to deal 1 ability damage to an opposing target. Death Collector you have in here just because his ability functions so well with the location. Okay, so you see for 2 Shadow Energy, you get to exile a an ally from the graveyard. Okay, and then he gets buffed up right by 1/1. So let's jump ahead real quick to the location. So I only have 2 of these in here. You can put more if you wanted, but it says if an undead ally has been removed from your graveyard this turn, renew 3 resources. So that means exiled or brought back or taken out to put back into your hand, okay? Or taken out and put back into play if you wanted to try to use something like Necromancer's Shroud to put one of those allies back into play instead. Okay, so if you use let's say you use Death Collector's ability on something that you don't care is gone, like a Harbinger of the Lost that's in your grave, right? You use his ability to target that and then remove it from your grave, and then you can activate this for 0 Shadow Energy and gain back 3 resources. So you use 2 resources to activate its ability, but then you gain 3 back, so it's a net value of 1. And let's see what else we have. So next one up, Crypt Spawn Tormentor. You got to see me utilize his synergy as well. When you have 2 undead allies in your graveyard and he's killed by anything other than combat damage, he goes back to your hand. And so the Sacrificial Lamb works so well with him because I was able to kill him off. And you remember the explanation in game. Since I had 2 undead allies in my grave, it was like this ally actually went to the graveyard when he died, but then came back to my hand. That's kind of the way the game sees it, okay? So he went to the grave and then came back to my hand, so that means he was removed from the grave, and so that's why I was able to activate the location and renew 3 resources. And so you see, I was able to attack with him, deal 3 damage, use Sacrificial Lamb on him to kill him, draw 3 cards, and then use the location to gain 3 resources. So for 2 resources, I was able to draw 3 cards and gain 1 resource, in total. So that's great synergy. Corpse Shifter, I really miss his old name. It was Corpse Hurler. I like that one much better. I don't know if that was too dark for the game or what. But Corpse Hurler, no longer, now Corpse Shifter. This guy's just a good, strong ally to have in your deck. And then for for 0 cost, 0 resources, you're able to discard an ally from your hand to your graveyard and deal 3 damage. So maybe you have a Harbinger of the Lost in your hand, chuck it into your graveyard for 0 cost and deal 3 damage. And then, maybe if you have one of these guys in play, you can activate his ability to eat that Harbinger and grow by +1/+1. So yeah, poor Harbinger, man, huh? He gets chucked out, he gets chucked away by the Corpse Shifter, and then your Death Collector eats him afterwards. I mean, how useless can you feel? It's pretty sad. And Shadow Knight, this guy happens to work really well in this deck with Moonstalker. Otherwise, he doesn't see too much play because 4 health for 5 cost, it really is not the greatest thing to play unless you get some kind of really huge immediate value. But since he's not able to stick to the board in most other decks, I think most players don't want to use him because you play something for 5 cost, you're kind of hoping it sticks around a little bit, to make an impact. But you play this guy out for 5 cost, he can die to a fireball, or he can die to any 3 cost ally getting buffed by Alden the Brave up to 4. It dies really easily. But in Moonstalker, when you're able to hide, all of a sudden he becomes a lot more dangerous. And the only way for your opponent to get rid of him is with ability damage or maybe some kind of a disabling technique to shut down his attack value. You see, and so there's only one Forgotten Horror in this deck. I, A1 Nidgis, he only ran one of these, I believe. And for the funny thing is I always felt, man, you're gonna have like 2 to 3 of these always. But you know what? He made it work with one, and so I'm not gonna think differently than the guy who does better with this deck, over every other player in the game. If he's only gonna run with one, I'm only gonna run with one. Bottom line. And oh yeah, just remember that the opposing ally with the highest attack takes 4 ice damage and is frozen for 1 turn. So you can try to maybe you have 2 allies that are tied for the same for the highest attack value. You can get rid of one. Maybe there's one that's easier to kill than the other. Maybe you manually get rid of that one, and then you summon this guy to shut down the more difficult one to handle. Okay, so try to think through it how you want to use it because it is an amazing on summon ability, and it'd be a real waste to summon it without getting maximum value from it. Grave Resistance. So again, this is actually one of the few cards in the game that's zero cost. But what it has is a sustain for 1 HP. So you saw my hero, I was taking 1 damage at the end of each of my turns. So if you're a Magic the Gathering player, sustain is the same as upkeep. Okay? So, up in Magic it was like upkeep, 1 mountain, right? Or 1 island. So in this sustain, just think of it as upkeep and it says 1 HP. So you're paying that 1 health at the end of each of your turns. But the value you get for it for this card is amazing because every one of your undead allies all of a sudden turns into a tank where all damage to them is reduced by 1. And that's not something that's easy to deal with. Even with someone as low as 4 attack or 4 health. You see here, I mean, all of a sudden this guy lives through Fireball. So maybe your opponent is a mage and they're thinking, okay, I can get rid of this Shadow Knight on my next turn. All I have to do is use the Fireball. But then you follow up playing Shadow Knight with Grave Resistance. And then all of a sudden your opponent is thinking, well, F me, what the hell am I going to do now? Because now all of a sudden they have to concentrate more attack sources, more damage sources onto a single ally in order to kill it. So even though all these allies have 4 health, you put out something like Grave Resistance, and all damage is reduced by 1. That is a huge turning point in the game, and you don't realize it really. You don't realize how effective it is until it's used against you. So you come across an opponent and they use Grave Resistance, you'll learn really quick the value of that card and how troublesome it can be. So now you're mine. 2 cost card, Wulven ability, kill an opposing ally will cost 3 or less. Sacrificial Lamb, 2 cost ability, target friendly allies that can be damaged is killed, and then you draw cards equal to that ally's cost, up to a maximum of 3. And Blood Moon, 2 cost card. While you don't have stealth at the end of your turn, you get to draw a card. Duration 3 means that it lasts for 3 turns. So you summon this, and over your next 3 turns, you actually draw 1 card as long as you don't have stealth. So with Moonstalker, it's a little tricky. Usually you want to try to play this early so that you can uh, be getting that draw where you're saving up your shadow energy. Because if you stealth while you have this in play, it's not going to do you any good. You're just going to lose out on the draw. Shadow Font. Your hero gains +3 shadow energy. So for Moonstalker, that means he gets to use his hide ability. For Moonstalker, this card is incredibly useful against some matchups and really not so much in others. Like against Mage, sometimes they don't give a damn if you hide because they're just going to blow your stuff away with Nova anyway because ability damage bypasses stealth. But other matchups, Warriors or anything that likes to do a lot of melee damage, they'll have a hard time with this. Let's see, and Tombstone Beacon. So Tombstone Beacon is 3 cost item, and every time you summon an undead ally, or if you summon an undead ally on your turn, you get to reduce it by 1 durability, and you renew 1 resource, and you draw a card. So you get to see me use it a couple times to renew 1 resource so that I could play out one of my abilities, and then draws you a card. So this Blood Moon and Sacrificial Lamb are your main draw engines in this deck. The location. So this location is specifically for undead usage. So if an undead ally has been removed from your graveyard, this turn you get to activate it once to renew 3 resources. I think you got to see me do it a couple times there. But check out the other side, like I said, so your opponent is able to activate it for 2 shadow energy, and target ally in a graveyard containing at least 3 cards is placed into their hand. So they could potentially, for 2 shadow energy, pull maybe my Shadow Knight out of my grave or my Forgotten Horror out of my grave and use it against me. So you want to be careful when you put down the location. I mean, oh yeah, that's right. Don't forget, locations have no cost. They just have a turn value that they have to wait until they're summoned. So you can't summon this on turn 1, 2, or 3. You have to wait till turn 4 or beyond. So maybe it's even best to not use it on turn 4 if there's a chance that your opponent could get one of your big allies away from you. So you got to be very cautious about when you play it, because you don't want it to end up being the reason you lose a game, which it could very easily end up being. So try to save it for when you get, maximum value out of it, which can be hard to time. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. You're forced to play it in order to try to make a big push. So, I can understand that not always will you have the best opportunity to play this card. But anyhow, this was Moonstalker, and this was an undead version of Moonstalker. And it's actually one that I enjoy playing myself. I don't really care for Moonstalker very much, but when I do decide I want to play it a little bit, I go ahead and play the undead version. So again, this was just one style you can use for Moonstalker. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I really like when people comment. I like to hear what people have to say or any questions that people might have, for me about the game. Feel free to leave a comment, and I like to watch out for those and to respond when I see people actually leaving me comments. So again, please like, share, subscribe, all that crap. And thanks for watching this episode, and I will see you next time.